Okay, folks, we are back. This is episode 15 of Street to Strategy. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free. I'm not asking you for no money. Just hit that button for me and I'd highly appreciate it. Okay, let's introduce today's guest. Some lives don't follow a clean, predictable path. They move forward in hard chapters shaped by duty, sacrifice, and moments that leave permanent marks. Today's conversation is not about legends or exaggerations. It's about reality. It's about a man whose life was defined not by where he came from, but how he chose to survive. We are honored to introduce a Vietnam veteran, someone who answered the call during one of the most complex and divisive chapters in our nation's history. He served in a war, fought far from home, in unforgiving heat and uncertainty, carrying responsibilities few truly understand. Like many who wore the uniform in that era, he returned without parades or applause, bearing experiences that stayed with him long after the fighting ended. His service was marked not only by courage under fire, but by quiet resilience, loyalty to those beside him, and a lifelong commitment to moving forward despite the weight of memory. Our guest stepped into law enforcement, carrying the weight of responsibility early, committing himself fully to the badge, the mission, and the people he swore to protect. For 13 years, he lived the life of a cop before the job, during the grind, and in the quiet moments most people never see. He experienced the brotherhood, the pressure, the victories, and the costs that came with answering the call day after day. But this story doesn't stop at the end of a shift or the close of a case. An on-duty injury changed everything, cutting a career short and forcing a medical retirement no one ever plans for. What happens when the uniform comes off before you're ready? When the job you built your identity around is suddenly gone? And how do you find purpose, faith, and meaning on the other side of that loss? Today, we talk honestly about service, sacrifice, and the life that exists after sirens fade. This is a conversation about resilience, brotherhood, and continuing forward when the plan falls apart. So grab a seat, settle in, and join us for a real, unfiltered discussion, because stories like this matter and the lessons don't end when the career does. Today, let's introduce my guest, Karim Elbisi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that.
And
thank you for that introduction. That's a lot.
Dude, that is a lot, dude. You've been around. Where were you born and raised, brother?
I was born in Illinois, raised between all up and down the East Coast.
Okay.
I was an Army brat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
My pop was. His story is longer than we have time to tell. So he was Egyptian and escaped Egypt with my mother, my brother, and my sister. My mother was from Missouri. They met while he was doing graduate studies at the University of Illinois.
Oh, wow.
And when they escaped and came back, he was the Dean of Sciences there at the University of Illinois, and that's where I was born. And then shortly after that, the Army snatched him up because they helped him escape Egypt that was under communist rule. And we went to an Army, Natick, Massachusetts. There's U.S. Army Natick Laboratories there, and he was the head of that.
Dude, impressive.
Yeah.
Most
very,
impressive.
Very impressive guy. He came from one of two surviving children out of 14.
Wow.
Due to famine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the opposite.
Yeah.
Due to famine and disease and war, he and his sister were the only survivors out of 14 kids, and lived in a little village called Elbisi, Egypt. And he told me once, he said, I was walking down the railroad tracks one night as a teenager and had a vision. And he said he envisioned the United States having his dream. He was a scientist, so he had a real scientific way of approaching things. Not quite. And to become a cowboy from that was certainly not what he was looking forward to.
Well, you know what though? honestly, it's like, your dad's story, that is the American dream.
It is.
Come here, become highly educated, and I'm sure very successful. Were you drafted or did you volunteer?
No, as it was, I was kind of out of control, kind of juvenile. I preferred the wrong side of the tracks as opposed to the right side. A lot better friends over there. They were, we got into a lot of trouble. Not really. We didn't. I guess my blessing was that I never got caught.
Yeah.
I did a lot of illegal things, but never got caught.
Yeah.
So it just gave me more life experience to draw upon. But
now, did you volunteer or did you draft? So
I volunteered.
Volunteered.
Yeah.
When at 18 years old?
I was 17
Okay.
when I volunteered, and I had to be emancipated.
Okay.
And they signed me over to Uncle Sam.
Wow.
And when I went into boot camp, I was 17. I turned 18 in boot camp.
Was the war already going?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it was actually ending. It was winding down. And
what year was that?
74.
Okay.
74, it ended in 75.
Got it.
I was assigned I made it through boot camp. And when I went in, they had these 2-year deals where if you enlist and get a 2-year deal stint, you could choose either your MOS or your duty station. And I wanted to drive tanks. And because one, I knew there wasn't a lot of room for tanks in the jungle. and two, I chose Stuttgart, Germany, and that's all they did in Stuttgart, Germany was tanks.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of basic training, they hang up your assignments and where you're headed.
I can see where this is going.
Yeah, and I see 11B10 next, and my drill sergeant's laughing his ass off. And I'm like, what's so funny? And our drill sergeant was this 7-foot black dude that stayed up all night just to get his eyes red enough to look you in the eye and scream at you. But he said, dude, you're not going to be driving any tanks. I go, well, what is 11B10? And that's when he told me it was light weapons combat infantry. And you're headed down to what we call Tiger Island in Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Okay.
That's where they did all their jungle training.
All right.
And off I went to become a ground pounder.
Wow. And you know what, man?
It's crazy.
I was going to say, I was in later on, but I was in the Navy. But
Right.
I will tell you this. Anybody who serves has my respect because it's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's not easy. What do you remember most vividly about the day you first arrived in Vietnam?
That we were just on a mission. It was just going to be a short go in, do the perimeter thing. They were going to withdraw troops. And it was a lot like Afghanistan.
Yeah.
When they panicked and withdrew everybody out of Afghanistan. And not only, believe it or not, it wasn't as effed up as Afghanistan was. But they did a lot of bad deals, political deals, and next thing you know, everybody had to get out of there, and they had to get out of there in a hurry. So our mission, our battalion's mission was to secure the perimeter.
Got it.
Period. And I didn't get hurt there at all. I mean, we saw. I didn't see what they called the shit. Like a lot of them guys coming out of the jungle had the 1,000-yard stare. They had been in the shit. And I just thanked God that I didn't have to go to a fire base and fight the guys coming down the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I was born in 71, so I was a little boy when all that was going on, but it's sad because I just think that a lot of our veterans from that time were forgotten about and overlooked and mistreated. And anybody that mistreats veterans or anybody in law enforcement truly pisses me off.
Yeah.
How did your experience in Vietnam change the way you saw the world or yourself after you came home?
When I came home, I'll go back just a sec. When I got when we got back to Fort Polk, Louisiana, I actually got hurt bad and in training.
Oh, wow.
And I tore. We were going across. I was going across some parallel ropes, and I had a full pack on, like about 65-pound pack, and I had the saw, they called it.
Oh, yeah.
With me, and
Large weapon.
and I got top heavy and was going back and forth, and it was about a 20-foot fall into kind of like a creek bed, some rocks and stuff. And I held on as long as I could until I ripped every nerve in my arm and my wrist.
Oh, wow.
Just tore them in half. So, I mean, I came out, my arm was dead. And they didn't have any surgery to fix it. But I kept telling them, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm a lifer. I'm going to be in the Army the rest of my life. I love it. And
wow.
I was gung-ho. I was totally brainwashed. So, yeah, that was a lean green killing machine.
How many years did you do in the Army?
Just the two. Not quite the two, actually. I was about a month from my end of my second year, and I took what was called a medical board because they wanted to just boot me to the curb and give me a severance pay. And I was like, I wasn't like this when I came in this man's army, and I'm not going to be like this going out without a thanks. You know, it's bad enough we had to change into our civvies coming into the airport so that nobody would spit on us in uniform. It was terrible.
Did you get rated? Do you collect a check?
Yes, I am right now I'm at 80% disabled American veteran.
Damn, I bet you that's a pretty nice check there.
Yeah, service connected. It's not as much as you would hope for it to be. If I was just another 20%, my wife could have health insurance.
Yeah.
As it is now at 80%, it just covers me 100% medically.
Yeah.
With the exception of dental. It won't do dental.
Well, and I would tell you something, man. You know what, brother? I mean, the fact that you got injured that bad in there, God bless you. And I think you deserve every penny that you got because, I was in and I used to see a lot of guys get injured and they didn't get anything, man. And you just realize obviously life is not fair.
Right.
But I want to see veterans get their benefits. Yeah. I believe in that. I think if you served your country, especially like you during those times, God bless you.
Thank you.
Were there moments of camaraderie or humanity that helped you get through those hard times?
Absolutely. There's no camaraderie that you could compare it to being a police officer or being a soldier. Anybody in uniform has that special camaraderie.
100%.
And I think that is what probably beats you up mentally so much when you don't have that. You wake up and work with, your partners, your brothers, sisters. And it was just, I can't explain it any more than it takes a real toll.
It does. I would tell you something, in law enforcement, this, man, there's guys that I went to war with and those people they're not friends, they're family. And,
absolutely.
But you're right. You can't recreate that.
It's gone.
And I don't know about you, but a lot of times in the civilian world, I never found that level of camaraderie that I had with people in law enforcement.
Absolutely.
And, one of my best friends in the world is still a guy that I met in the Navy. He lives all the way in Florida, but we talk all the time. And I just think, by the grace of God, I met him because of the military,
Right.
And then I got guys that are strung out all over the United States. And Facebook has been a great tool because now we can all keep in touch with each other on Facebook. What is something about the Vietnam War that you feel people today misunderstand or overlook?
I think a lot of people, just like back then, the general public was disrespectful to our soldiers and to anybody who was in the military service, even if you weren't in Vietnam, but you were in there during that era. It was the camaraderie was special because we were all getting treated like shit.
Yeah.
So we And we knew all we were creatures of orders.
Yeah.
We follow orders. And if our orders are, we got to go over to Kent State and stand guard at a university, which was a big deal back then when the National Guard shot some students.
They opened fire.
They opened up on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where you form your camaraderie, is that you got to be a battle buddy, so to speak. You got to have each other's back.
Big time.
And I think what a lot of people missed is, in generalizing the war and generalizing the military, they missed the fact that we weren't over there fighting for truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah.
We were fighting to keep each other alive.
Yeah.
So it didn't go any further than your platoon.
I was going to ask you this. Now that everything's come out about that war now, what do you think about all that? I mean, it just seems like now that, like the Tonkin thing, that was kind of a false flag where they created that to make all that happen. I mean, what do you think about stuff like that when you see it now? I'm sure it pisses you off.
It does. It's like anything else, political. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And to put it bluntly, and it's, that war was fought from Washington.
And if you think about this, and, I'm sure you think the same way, man, but I think our elected officials have lost their way, bro.
Oh, totally lost.
I think politicians should be out here trying to do what they can to help people, and I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
And as what's sad is that war really divided our country.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the lives that were lost, even our side, the other side, over really stuff that, if you think about it now, really don't matter, and all those people died. You know what I mean? And it's sad. How were you treated when you returned home, and how did it affect you?
When I returned home, I was in Walter Reed Army Hospital for months upon end. I was assigned to a medical holding unit, and when I was ambulatory again, where I could walk around, and then I was allowed to finally leave the base, I got to drinking and doing drugs, and I was right there on Georgia Avenue, downtown D.C. My brother was thank God, he was a police officer in the next town over, Arlington, and he saved me because I was living above a topless joint and going in, reporting into Walter Reed once every 2 weeks, getting my paycheck and going and blowing it on strippers and booze. So,
Wine, women, and song, man.
That was it. It distances you, especially when the population is so much against.
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't come in and say, "Hey, buy that guy a drink. He's in the army."
Yeah.
It was like, don't say a word. Just
yeah. You know what it was? Well, during that time, I mean, it was just so looked down upon, and now it's like, anytime I see, it's like the last time I was walking through airport and I saw a bunch of guys that you could tell they just gotten out of boot camp,
mm-hmm.
and I'm just looking at these kids and I'm just like thinking, man, you got your whole life ahead of you. You don't realize it, but anybody who serves has my utmost respect because, number one, anybody that serves our country or even serves our communities, in my opinion, I think these people deserve the utmost respect.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a particular person, military or civilian, you still think about from that time?
I had a buddy that I just recently reconnected with him. His name was Robert Doherty. And that guy, he was my battle buddy. He was there with me during boot. I ran into him again he was in my battalion down in Tiger Island. He was just one of those guys that I really looked up to. He was older than I was by, I don't know, not much, 5, 6 years older than I was. And man, I was just a baby when I went in there.
Yeah.
I was scared to death. I'm not ashamed a bit to say I would lay in my bunk at night and tears just rolling out of my eyes like, what? have I done? Yeah, I just want to go home.
Where's he at now? Where does he live?
He lives in Virginia, or actually, I think he moved to Florida recently. But he was in Virginia, and that's where I joined, was in Virginia. And we both went in. We ran into each other in the where you raise your right hand, swear in, get on a bus, and go to boot camp.
Oh yeah. Well, now it's called MEPS. I don't know what was it. Yeah. What would you want younger generations to understand about service, sacrifice, or even about war itself?
To form your own opinion.
Yeah.
Don't jump in there because the whole campus or the whole neighborhood or all your buds are all looking at it this way.
Are you bothered by leg veins of any size, or is leg swelling or pain bugging you or someone you know? I would recommend that you make an appointment with our friends at Sequoia Vein and Wound to take care of it. With a friendly bilingual staff and their years of experience, they are happy to help resolve those issues. Give them a call to get a consult at 559-713-6478 and tell them that Jay Mac sent you.
Don't be a follower. Be a leader. Form your own opinion. Form your own opinion and look at it not for face value. Look at it a little bit deeper and you'll see where it's there's always political motivation behind war. There's always the break between NCOs and officers. They're two different beings.
They are,
and that rolls over into any uniformed service, even
a law enforcement. Big time, man. Horrible. Even right now, I think, especially, with Visalia, man, there's a hard line drawn in the sand between command staff and line staff. When you look back now, what originally pulled you towards law enforcement?
That was a crazy story. I was training horses over there in Exeter and running a trucking company, and the trucking industry had did a flip. Insurances, they quadrupled overnight. The federal regulations changed. You had to pay this guy for that fuel tax, this guy for this fuel, road taxes, and everything else just so you could go through states.
Yeah.
It really got bad, and I got disgusted with it. And that was something else that was left over from my military service. I was short-tempered. I was an angry dude. I was like, why in the hell don't I get a break?
Yeah.
And I was clawing for everything I had. And anyway, I went in to Larry County, believe it or not. They had a program that you would go in, and for any industry that was going down the tube, so to speak, and at that time it was a trucking industry. A lot of people were losing their jobs. A lot of people were losing their companies. People were losing their ability to make a living. And so Tulare County threw in an aptitude thing. You could go in, and they would, for veterans mostly, and you would take an aptitude test, and they would narrow it down to two things that you really stood out, that career area, modes or career paths. And I had either heavy equipment operator or cop.
Wow. That's a wide
spectrum.
Yeah.
But it was actually, I think it was probably because my brother, I always saw my older brother. He's only a couple of years older than me. And I always admired him because he was a fireman, volunteer fireman when I was in high school. I hung out at the fire station with him, got to know the cops because the cops hung out at the fire station.
Yeah.
All his buds were all either cops or firemen, paramedics, that type of thing.
How many years did your brother, how long was he a cop?
Oh, gosh. He was an active full-time for probably, I want to say 15 years, and then worked reserve for about another 30.
Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's he at now?
He just retired. He is living in King George, Virginia,
Okay.
and has family, and his daughter, my niece, is living in Georgia. My nephew lives in Tupelo. He's in Tupelo PD.
Okay.
He's a SWAT commander down there at Tupelo.
Wow. So it's in the family. It's in the blood.
Yep, it is.
How old were you when you became a cop?
I was 40 years old. I was
Wow.
a 40-year-old fat guy.
I was going to tell you this for the folks at home. That's a late run. That's a late start to get into law enforcement.
Yeah.
There is nothing set in stone by policies, but I can tell you this: a lot of agencies are going to have, especially now they got to go to 57.
Yes.
It's going to be hard. I don't know about that time. Now it would be very hard to get hired at 40.
Absolutely.
And
I faced that, actually. I mean, I became a police officer right at the end of 99, the beginning of 2000.
And what agency was that?
And I got hired by Tulare County Sheriff's Department, but I found out that you had to go to the jails
Oh,
as a
yeah.
prerequisite.
You're looking at a jail guy right here.
And I was thinking, man, by the time I get out of the jails, I'm going to need a walker to go on patrol. I wanted to get to the streets. I wanted patrol. I wanted investigations. I was just chomping at the bit. And so during the process with Tulare County, I had already took the lie detector and all that good stuff. And I got offered a job at Woodlake.
Woodlake PD.
Woodlake PD.
Who was the chief then?
Zappalak.
Oh, Zap.
Yeah,
Okay.
John Zapp.
Yeah.
He was actually on loan from the sheriff's department, and there was kind of a conversation between him and my background investigator at the sheriff's department. One of those conversations they're not supposed to have.
Yeah.
And John turned around and gave me an offer after talking to my background investigator. And
Wow.
so he snatched me away from
What
the
was the
sheriff's
pay
department.
back in 99?
Holy moly. I went in as a, what do they call it? When you're sworn, but you're not full-time.
Like a reserve, level 1 reserve?
Yeah, like a level 1 reserve, so to speak. And I didn't know it. At the time, Tim Smith was his lieutenant, Smitty. Crazy guy. You might remember him, but he tells me, "Oh yeah, Dad, you're in. You got this. All you got to do is come back and talk to the chief, and go ahead, go quit your job, go get a uniform." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm hired." And I came back and I quit my job.
Yeah.
I come back in, and first thing John says, he goes, "Now you know this is for a reserve position, right?" And I was like, "I quit my job."
Yeah.
No, I didn't know it was reserve. Schmitty told me it was full time.
You know what? And you know what's sad, Carrie? That type of stuff happens all the time.
All the time.
Now, how long did you have to do the reserve stuff?
I decided that I would show them. I kept a notebook. I came in, the guy that I quit truck brokering for, he was a great guy. And he said, "Just come on back. I'll give you $500 a week just to show up and keep these guys straight and go do your reserve time." And so he was wonderful. Jesse, it'll come back to me. That's one thing when you get my age. About 10 minutes from now, I'll go, "Waters." Yeah, that's him. But, he was great about it. He took me back so I could still make a living.
Yeah.
But I decided I'm going in there more than full time. I spent 12 hours a day at Woodlake PD. And I jump in with this officer, that officer, because I hadn't had my field training
Got it.
as a reserve. They bring you up to a certain point, and then they leave the rest for when you get hired full time. So I'm spending 12 hours there. I'm riding around with, at the time, there was guys, Josh Manus.
I remember Josh.
Yeah, Josh, good guy. Mark Knox.
All those guys ended up going to Porterville.
Oh, yeah. They all ended up at Porterville. We had a
Yeah.
real close relationship with Porterville there at Woodlake, and I think a lot of guys went over there. Tony
what?
Espinosa. You
Yeah, I remember
Deshaun
Tony.
Jackson's husband?
Yeah, I will tell you this. Tough part about Woodlake, the guys that work there, good people.
Yeah.
No doubt. But the pay is not good. And in fact, I think in Tulare County, that is the lowest paid agency.
Yeah.
And I got to do my student teaching over in Woodlake recently, and that's an interesting town, brother.
Yeah.
Interesting town.
It is indeed.
What did the badge represent to you when you first pinned it on?
It meant everything. It meant everything. It felt like everything I ever wanted, that I was finally, it was where God wanted me to be.
Yeah.
And I was a late bloomer as far as believing in Jesus as well. I came from an atheist mom and a Muslim father. So
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah.
So I was never religious. I mean, when we got orders to go to NUM, I was pretty religious.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
religion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was everything I ever wanted. I knew that I was in the right place. And just the way those doors opened up, I hadn't been to school in over 30 years, 35 years, something like that. I don't know what it was. It was close to 30 years, I think, but it was a long time. I hadn't cracked a book. And I went and took that test that you take to get into the academy, and I passed it first go. I got into the 93rd academy.
Okay, yeah, so I was 84.
There you go.
Yeah. And I will tell you this. I know what you mean. There's just something. I remember when I started, there was something in me like, this is where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
But, my story is not as smooth as yours, man. I had a lot of doors slammed in my face, dude.
Boy,
How would you describe the version of yourself that entered policing compared to the person you are today? I bet you that's way different.
It is. It's funny because it was like night and day with me. From when I was saved, I was like, I had no qualms about running my trucks illegally, buying 2 trucks, putting one registration and splitting it between both trucks and say, don't you guys ever go on the scale together. Go. So, I mean, I didn't have the morals that I had it was like when I believed in Jesus, he lifted me up and said, look, you're going to take this path. It was like night and day. It was a 180 for me. And I carried that. That was all miraculous to me.
Yeah.
And so I carried that into law enforcement with me. And I tried to keep it down the straight and narrow. But I think what got me my first job was they asked me that question in the orals where, why do you want to be a police officer? And I said, well, I hope to be different. I hope to have empathy for the people that I'm dealing with, which I lost that at a certain point. You lose that empathy.
You do.
But I hope to have, make a difference. Yeah. And I don't have a lot of time to do it. And I'm 40 years old at that time. I hoped I'd get a 20-year career out of it that I fell short of. And the same thing in the Army. I had hoped to have a lifetime career as a soldier, and I got cut short. So I'm thinking, what is it you want from me, God?
I was going to say, this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you think this. There's just something, back when I was growing up, man, drug dealer looked pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you something. There's something that happens where you just realize everything falls into place and it pushes you where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
And that's what happened to me. And it sounds like that's what happened to you.
It did.
I didn't know you were that religious. And so I will tell you this, now that I do know that, I will curb my language.
Brother, that was probably one of the hardest things that I can listen. I can hear bad language all day long. Doesn't bother me either way.
Yeah.
Especially being a police officer. I mean, that's how we communicate.
Correct.
Correct. It's not, sir, could you please sit down?
Yeah.
It's like, sit the down.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And so it's, I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me. Like,
Yeah.
I guess there's some people, I go to church with a few guys that would be like, oh, that language, I can't hear that.
Are you Pentecostal? What are you?
No, I am, I'm Christian, and I belong to Rocky Hill Community Church over there in Exeter.
Okay.
And I've kind of floated around to different churches trying to figure it out. I went to a Pentecostal church, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
I was raised in that hellfire brimstone, dude.
doing the bacon in the aisle. So that was scary for me. And well, Schmitty, the lieutenant at Woodlake, was a Pentecost preacher.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and that guy, he was foul. I mean, that Schmitty, they had. He was everything like the old cop stories that they had. They police all day and drink all night.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
different time.
Yeah, different time. Absolutely.
I would tell you something. Recently in Woodlake, dude, they actually have Tesla patrol vehicles.
I heard that.
And,
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it.
They're actually pretty cool. But I was talking to one of the guys driving it, and he told me that thing will go 130 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah, and quick too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like from 0 to 130 in a heartbeat.
What do people outside the job misunderstand most about what it means to be a cop?
I think people look at you as a uniform.
Correct.
They don't look at you as a person, and they tend to put you in a box with all the other cops. So if one of the, and it's just like they tell you at the beginning, you kind of laugh about it when you're in the academy and they tell you these stories about it only takes one guy to do this, and then your whole department's going to live that down for the next couple of years. You're going to be fighting that reputation that he set, and that's what people, I think, misunderstand.
Well, also too, somebody can mess up in New York, Minneapolis,
absolutely,
Texas, and we all get painted with the same brush.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that. And I remember right after the George Floyd stuff, people are like, why don't you guys go kill somebody like George Floyd? And I remember telling somebody, hey man, that was thousands of miles away from here.
Right.
And I didn't have a damn thing to do with it.
Exactly.
What were your first months on the street really like, either emotionally, mentally, or spiritually?
Well, when I came into, it was kind of a different, I was at the tail end of the old generation of cops and the beginning of kind of the new generation of cops. And I didn't really fit in with either one. I liked the old school way, and I'm glad I got that training. And I'm glad that I got tactical communication, which was different than what you see on the body cams nowadays. But I respected a lot of the old guys. But when I passed my FTO, got through and was on the street on my own, dude, they had one officer on and a sergeant until like 3 a.m. Then you're on your own until 6 a.m. when the day shift comes in. And day shift only existed, it was always a sergeant and a patrol officer. And then the day shift had chief and lieutenant and all those guys. Yeah. So in those smaller PDs, you might be, we had to depend upon the sheriff's department to be our closest backup.
Oh, yeah.
Out there in Woodlake. And I'm glad I got to go through that because it trained me to talk.
Oh, yeah.
And I would much rather talk you into handcuffs than fight you into handcuffs. And I took that mentality. I mean, I'm on at 2 o'clock in the morning, you get a DV call and the sergeant's already gone home and you're on your own and the guy's 10 feet tall and pissed off.
Yeah.
And they say, well, you got to separate them, don't put them. Where's the separation? Until I get some backup here, I got nothing.
I would tell you something, that's something about Vice, I think, that me and a lot of the guys took for granted that, hey, I mean, we'd have 8 guys on a shift.
Oh, yeah.
And, we could overwhelm people with numbers. Yeah, you didn't have that luxury.
No, we
didn't. Was there a moment when early on when you realized this job is going to change me? Because I think everyone has it.
Yes. It didn't happen to me until, well, it happens to make you pin that badge on.
Yeah, it does.
It's that pride, that I want to say power, but it wasn't really like a power trip. It was just that, you're controlling people's, and I wished and prayed that a lot of other new guys would have that feeling that what you do is going to affect this person the rest of their life.
Yes.
And that's a big undertaking if you don't look at it that way. If you're just looking at it like, hey, I got 6 arrests last night. I look at it like I just changed 6 lives.
Yeah.
They're going to have to defend themselves in court. They're going to have to pay an attorney. They may lose their marriage. They may lose their job. It's a big effect that you're going to have on people.
It is.
And I wanted to make sure that when I was making those type of decisions, whether to hook it, book it, or give them an opportunity to do right. And we had that discretion when I first started. They don't really have that discretion now.
They don't. And here's the problem, Carrie. I just said this on my last episode. Mm-hmm. No good deed goes unpunished.
Amen.
And more times than not, I got written up when I tried to help people.
Yeah.
And it really, what it does is it reinforces this thing where, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to put everybody in jail.
Sure.
And because I let some people go sometimes and it would just come back and bite.
Absolutely.
Every single time. And, I was like you. I mean, not to your level, but I didn't get into it to be mean to people.
Right.
But I will tell you this, later on in life, after you get zapped a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
you know what you do? You're just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to put everybody in jail.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give breaks. And it's a bummer because what it does, it almost takes the humanity out of it.
It does.
Because in the final analysis, hey, I'd just rather say, yeah, I booked him and wrote the report and get on down the road. Later on, years later, when I was training cops,
mm-hmm.
I told everybody the same thing. I know you want to give this person a break. Do not do it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come back and zap you. I had some really close calls where, thank God it didn't destroy my career. But I've seen some people's careers get destroyed from helping.
Absolutely.
How did your job affect your relationships, both at work and at home?
Well, at the beginning, my wife and I, we've been together 33 years.
So the first wife been together this whole time?
No.
Okay. Okay.
It took me a few to practice on. She's my third wife.
Okay.
And the first one lasted about 6 months, I think. I was 19 and still kind of crazy from the Army. And the second one lasted 11 years, and she got strung out on meth.
All right.
And
that's a good run, but that's a sad outcome.
It was a sad outcome. So I did everything I could possibly do to get her straightened out, and it was sad. And we were very successful over there in Monterey County, and had a big stable and quarter horse ranch and the whole 9 yards. But that went south.
What city were you living in over there?
I lived in Salinas for a bit, but then we moved to Castroville, right behind the Moss Landing power plant.
Okay.
And we were about 5 miles back into the slough there, the Elkhorn Slough. And it was actually a Castroville address.
Now, was that when you were working with Loretta Lynn?
That was just after.
Okay.
That was just after. We moved out here when I stopped working for Loretta and Mooney Lynn, we had just moved out here. It was like 81 or
And for the folks at home, Carrie used to ride Broncos. Is that what you did? And he worked for Loretta Lynn. And what was that? How did that happen? Or what did you even do?
It was really cool. I was doing just about anything you could possibly think of in horses, I'd get involved in. I loved horses. I loved the business. I started off in kind of a Virginia hunter jumper type realm. And then some cowboys came in, and my eyes just, boom, these guys are cool. I want to do this. And I went to a few rodeos, and I was sunk. I was hooked. And I traveled with a guy by the name of Jimmy Myers and another guy by the name of Bud Fisher. And believe it or not, those guys were from New Jersey.
Wow, New Jersey Cowboys.
New Jersey Cowboys. And
now, were you guys doing rodeos? Is that where you guys?
We were actually, we belonged to what's now the PIRA. There's like an eastern side of the PRCA, which is the NFR and all that stuff in Vegas. And now it has just gone ballistic with money. But back then, we were lucky to make enough money to get down the road.
Yeah, just to get to the next radio.
Yeah, especially if you're hauling your own horses. If you're hauling your own horses, like you're a steer wrestler or roper, even if you're riding rough stock, you still got to carry your horses with you for the other events.
So now you're having to feed them.
Yep.
Water.
Yeah.
Gas. Food for you.
Yeah.
Place to stay. Yeah, I'm sure it all adds up.
Yeah, exactly. And I got lucky. I got hooked up with, I had a really nice truck and trailer outfit because I was trucking horses all over the place. So I hooked up with Bud Fisher and Jimmy Myers. Jimmy Myers was one of the first 8-time world champions.
Wow.
But he wasn't the $7 million cowboy. Back then, you were like the $60,000 cowboy.
Yeah.
And still a world champion. But he was the first guy to go 8 consecutive world championship titles in bull riding and all around. He rode bulls and bareback horses. And I'm traveling with him. Bud Fisher was a world champion team roper. So I learned a lot from those guys, but I tried my hand at everything. We were following this chain of rodeos. They were all Coliseum rodeos. They were like the Capitol Center in Maryland, Madison Square Garden in New York, these big time rodeos. And the people who were putting those on, it was a company called Longhorn Rodeo Company. And it was owned by Mooney and Loretta Lynn.
Wow.
And Loretta Lynn being the first lady of country music, they were very nice people, very down to earth, very good people. Mooney kind of ran the rodeo end of it.
You know, they've done, I never got to meet her, but I tell you something, Loretta Lynn did a lot for people in the motorcycle industry.
Yes.
A lot of people, obviously, for what you were doing.
Yeah.
But that's just phenomenal that somebody has that type of pull that can do that and help people. Like all the professional, even to this day, all the Supercross guys, they all started off riding in the Loretta Lynn's.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So she would put on those big amateur races on her property. And it's just cool.
Yeah, she had a magic touch with like Coliseum type stuff,
Yeah.
the big shows.
I mean, plus she just had, her name carried weight.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What role did brotherhood play in your survival on the job as a police officer?
I learned very early, and I had to learn really quick because I knew my career wasn't going to be 20, 30, maybe 40 years down the road. It was going to be, if I could make 20 years, I was.
Yeah, because I'd say from 40 to 60, get out at 60 maybe, yeah.
And I wanted to do everything I could possibly do in law enforcement and be successful at it, be a good cop.
Yeah.
I wanted to, if I was a detective, I wanted to be the best damn detective I could be. If I was FTO, I wanted to be a great training officer. I wanted to be that guy that the guys would remember as a guy who was a solid cop. He was a good guy, good cop, just like yourself.
Yeah.
And a bunch of our friends were, they're good cops. And I had to do it quick. And that tended to put me as a target for those guys who, like, for instance, when they hired me full time over at Woodlake, I made it through my FTO, passed through that real quick. And
how long did it take to get on full time?
I ended up working, like I was telling you, the 12 hours a day for, it took me about 6 months.
Okay, that's a long time to be sitting in limbo.
Yes.
And thank God you had the trucking stuff on the side because you wouldn't be making no money.
No, I'd have been, I would have had to have decided to do something different. And thank God I had the trucking deal going on, and a person who was lenient enough to let me work at the PD and come in just for a couple hours in the morning, that type of thing. But after I became full-time, a slot opened up. And it was funny because I remember going to the oral interview for that slot. And I got, I think, 3 chiefs and a couple of lieutenants on the oral board from other PDs. And they asked me, so, what makes you think you're qualified to go full time? I mean, all you've done is provisional.
All that provisional.
Yes.
Yeah.
All you've done is provisional. You got your training done and everything. Now, what makes you think you deserve this full time slot? And I said, let me answer that. And I pulled out a notebook. Every DUI that I was part of, every single arrest that I was with another officer or part of. And then when I did actually get FTO'd when I became provisional. And so everything I was involved in, I kept a record of. It was like 16 DUI arrests or, 27.
So, you'd already gotten a pretty solid base.
I had a solid base. And I said, so this, and I handed that to him. And I said, that's what makes me think I'm qualified for this position. And I said, I'm not looking to be at one specific. I want to do it all.
Yeah.
I want to be your guy. I want to be on your SWAT team. I want to be on your, entry team. I want to be your detective. I want to be your FTO, all those. And I said, so if you hire me, you're going to get a rounded guy you can plug him in anywhere. And I kind of put my foot in my mouth because just after that, I went full time. That slot opened up for detective on a child abuse grant. And that came from the governor's office. It was back then it was called the Department of Criminal Justice Planning. Doesn't exist anymore. It was under Governor Schwarzenegger, I think. And it may have started with Brown. Anyway, it was under one of the better governors. And
compared to what we got now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wreck now. But it consisted of 2 rural PDs, one being Wood Lake, another was like Mono Lake Sheriff's Department or something like that. They had like 10 deputies, that was, it was small. And then two large agencies, one being San Jose and the other one San Diego. And they put us all the same training. They sent us all to the same schools, the whole 9 yards, and it was for child abuse. It was a child abuse grant.
So you became a child abuse detective?
Yes.
All right.
And I was assigned to a countywide task force, but all the stats, I had to produce the stats out of Wood Lake. And when it came to an end, I mean, we were very successful. And I was only successful because I met a lady in Wood Lake, Diane Piercy. She was huge in the school district there. She was the head of the school district. She had been principal at all the Wood Lake schools and all of that stuff. And she also ran the, what was the name of that? Healthy Start.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember Healthy Start. Yeah,
she ran the Wood Lake Healthy Start, and her and I and John Zapalak always was. He was an incredible detective. He had a lot of people didn't like him. He fought with the sheriff's department.
Well, I think for him, those were the years that he was trying to become sheriff. So
Yes.
there was always this. He was going against Whitman, and
Yes.
and so there was a lot of people at that time.
Yeah.
Me being one of them because I loved Whitman because he gave me a job.
I liked
at the
Whitman, too.
at the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
So I never got to know Zapalak.
Yeah.
But you're right. Back in those days, a lot of people, I think, because they were loyal to Whitman.
Yeah.
That mean you just naturally didn't like Zap.
Exactly.
Yeah, and how do you explain the bond between cops to someone who's never worn the uniform?
Oh, goodness. That's a tough question. I would tell someone who's never worn a uniform that it is something that you have never experienced. It's a bond that you have never experienced between officers, and unless you were in the military, you've experienced that same type of bond. But it's like it's going into battle with somebody.
It is.
It's something you will never forget. And we've all had our hairy incidents
big
that
time.
never leave you. You were an OIS. And, I actually was involved in an OIS with somebody who you know very well, I think, Gilson.
Oh, yeah. Robert.
Yeah, Robert. Robert and I were tight. We went to the academy together. We both started at Woodlake together. The day he got into a shooting and shot that guy, he had an oral interview with the chief at DPD.
Yes. Yes.
I think it was Barker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would have been at the time.
Yeah.
And I think that, we heard that because he had gotten that shooting, they were like, hey, we're going to hold off for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a big deal because I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
You don't see that offer that a guy gets into officer involved shooting, and then now he has an oral interview with the chief.
He got in the OIS in the morning, and he had to interview in the afternoon. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? And you know what? Years later, I got injured, and I was in the detective bureau with him, and I got to know him really well.
Yeah.
Good dude.
He is.
What were the unspoken rules you learned that no one teaches in the academy?
I've got one great one that I learned, and that is never bitch down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're going to bitch and you're a supervisor or you're in charge of a detail or whatever the case may be, if you're going to bitch about the detail or bitch about the order you got from the top, bitch it up to your next in line. Use that chain of command.
I will tell you this, and it's so true. And I think years later, it ended up coming back and biting me because when something sucked, I said it sucked.
Yeah.
And when something wasn't right, I said it wasn't right.
Right.
And I was very vocal. And, the supervisors don't like that.
No.
And, I had some very contentious conversations with supervisors.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, and I hate to say this, but it's the honest to God's truth, a lot of the guys that we worked for like to supervise out of fear and intimidation.
Yeah.
There's something about that, Carrie, I don't respond to.
Yeah.
And, I used to be like this, hey, man, treat us with dignity and respect.
Amen.
But we didn't get that a lot. And, and I think the business is changing now. Pinto in my last episode, he said something, and I think it's totally true. Stuff that used to go on would not cut it in this day and age. You have a different generation.
Yes.
Body cams have flipped the script because now everything's on body cams.
Yeah.
Dude, we got cussed out by supervisors. We got treated like shit.
Yeah.
And I hated to see it, especially when we're doing the worst of the worst. We're out here taking on the worst people known to man.
Yeah.
And we're fighting people. We're pulling guns. Where people are getting injured. Things are happening. And some of these bosses just had this attitude like they could have cared less about us.
Exactly.
That I have a problem with. Mm-hmm. And to this day, there's some supervisors, when I see them, I still do not like these people because of the way they treated us.
I agree.
And,
they had that better than thou.
Big time. And you know what? And we hated to see it, especially when a guy just got promoted. So last week, he's a slick sleeve officer. Yeah. This week, he's a sergeant. And now he wants to treat you like he's 10 times better than you. And I had a real problem. What did a good day look like for you as a cop?
A good day look like? When I'd come on to shift and all the guys I really enjoyed working with were on that shift.
Yeah.
I started off being a single officer on graveyards forever. And then gradually things were growing, at the PDs. They hired more officers.
How many years did you do at Woodlake?
I did 7 years at Woodlake and 6 years at Exeter.
Yeah. Well, Exeter is bigger than...
And yeah. Exeter was pretty good size when I went over there. I lateraled over there, and that was a tough decision to make because I lived in Exeter.
Yeah.
And when you decide you're going to police your own town... Tough.
I will tell you something. My career almost got sidelined forever trying to police my own town.
Yeah.
And it's tough because you know everybody.
Yeah.
And it can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing.
Amen.
And more times than not, I think it's a bad thing.
I agree.
People expect a lot from you that you normally wouldn't have to deal with because you know these people. Plus, Exeter, I know Exeter.
Yeah.
It's still got that small town feel. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
In Visalia, a good day for us. And it didn't happen often. But if you came in with no paper, if you came in with
Amen, brother.
if you came in with no reports, that was a good day.
Yeah.
The problem with Visalia, it's just too damn busy now. And, I think my last patrol shift, I responded to like 30 calls in a day.
That's crazy, huh?
That is nuts.
Yeah.
And, you're talking 6 arrests, driving out to Bob Wiley 6 times, booking 6 people, plus having evidence, then all the paper that comes with that. Not always fun and games. What did a bad day look like, and how did you carry that home?
Oh, Lord. A bad day would be, I was infamously slow report. I was a good report writer. I was a slow report writer.
Got it.
So if I was on my Friday and I was 6 down, meaning I had 6 reports I needed to get done before the end of the shift, and the shift was busy, I'm picking up paper call after paper call after paper call. So I'm just adding to this monstrosity that I had building. And then I'd go in and... I got off at 6 p.m., but it's now midnight and I'm still, Elbisi, you're still here. And then you hear a hot call. You're going to jump up and run out to it, because that's what you do for your buds, you're going to back them up, especially when it's a small agency. But I had to really hold myself. So a bad day for me was a Friday with a lot of paper.
Yeah, and you know what, dude, we'd have days like that where, a good supervisor would be like, hey, dude, why don't you come in a few hours, get that stuff knocked out. Problem was with us, with Visalia, you could have 2 shootings go down at the same time, and you're going to send at least 2 to 3 cops at one, 2 to 3 cops at another.
Yeah.
Now we got a traffic collision with fatalities, and it's all going to shit at once. And there's many days, and Visalia, they weren't big on a Friday, and we didn't hold. You couldn't go home on any day holding paper.
Right.
You had to get that report in, but they're also not going to let you sit there for 5 hours after your shift to do it. Yeah. So, there were days, man, literally when I wasn't responding to calls, I'm in the car trying to get this stuff done.
Sure.
Now, what we're dealing with Visalia. We used to dictate all of our reports.
Right.
That was cool. Now it's all computer, and it's changed the game. But now, dude, they're doing reports, bro, and they're adding stuff to reports. Now you gotta for the governor's office, dude, you gotta categorize it with somebody by like non-binary, were they transgender, were they all these other things.
That's crazy.
And all it does is just add and add and add. And there comes a point in time where there's really only so much you can do.
Right.
But and I know you know this, I don't think law enforcement was ever meant to be an arm of the politicals. It shouldn't be a political thing. It's just turned into that. And now, the guys out here, Visay's gotten pretty big. I think probably maybe next year, or maybe by the end of the next year, I think there'll be 200 cops. How did you cope with the cumulative stress that builds over years with the job? I was good at that, but I know a lot of people weren't.
Yeah. I was pretty good at the things that were piling up mentally.
Yeah.
The lack of sleep, the bad dreams.
Oh yeah.
I got so formed a shell because there was a point where I was so sick of people lying to me. Every stinking person I spoke to that day lied to me.
Oh yeah.
And I would get so disgusted, especially doing investigations. They're all lying and they're wasting your time. You're going down, you're following leads that go nowhere.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. And how I dealt with that is I tried on my Fridays, it was hard as a detective because you're always on call and you're getting called out. But as a patrol officer on my Fridays, I tried to walk away whether it was 3 or 4 hours later off of paper or whatever it was, I walked away and I tried to forget about it. And that's a tough thing to do.
It is. I would tell you something. I ended up being the voice of reason for a lot of people, and but I had some really good friends self-implode.
Yeah, boy.
And lost their careers due to either A, DUI, B, some other type of arrest.
Yeah.
And you really see that the job, for lack of a better word, it really does. It becomes a mind fuck for a lot of people.
It does.
And I've seen it really, really mess some people up. And, I think Visalia recently, unfortunately, they ran across, we've had multiple officers arrested over this last year. I hate to see that. But I also understand, and I'm not condoning anything that anybody did, but you just see the stress of the job.
Sure.
They're normal human beings,
Yeah.
and people are going to make mistakes. But I brought this up on my last episode. If it's a cop, that spotlight is going to be bright when a cop makes a mistake. Was faith present in your life during your career, or did it evolve over time?
My faith?
Yes.
It was present from the beginning and still is. And I think that made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
It really did. I did a lot of praying on shifts. I would, especially if it's back in the beginning when you're on by yourself, it's 3:00 in the morning. We had a guy that was shooting at every cop that he got into a traffic stop with. I can't remember his name now, but he was a bad dude. He was all over Tulare County doing armed robberies, stealing pickups. We were all after this guy. I think he shot a CHP guy in Exeter at his house. Brazil, I think was.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
And he was stealing Brazil's pickup out of his driveway, and they got into a shootout in the driveway, and Brazil got wounded. But so this guy, and he happened to live in Woodlake. That was his hometown. And I'm on late. It's 3:30, 4:00 in the morning, which means the SO guys are heading into HQ for their briefing, and because the others come on at 5 a.m. And so I'm pretty much alone. There's no backup, no nothing. And I'm cruising, doing my patrol, and I roll into these apartments, and lo and behold, I see a pickup that was on the hot sheet, and I know it's stolen, and it's parked right outside the apartment of this guy's wife, the guy that we've been chasing. He was like Tulare County's most wanted at the time. And so I radioed in, I said, run the pickup, confirmed stolen.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Hispanic guy?
Yeah, he was. And as it turns out, fast forwarding, I had no backup.
Oh, yeah.
And I parked away from the deal, and I was like, they're telling me, wait for backup. It was Sergeant, he ended up getting killed in a car wreck. He was one of my favorite guys. Hernandez.
Yeah, John. Yeah.
One of my buddies, man. He lived in Exeter. We were buds. He was one of my mentors. And anyway, Greg backed me up every time. And he comes across the radio. He says, do not approach that guy on your own.
Yeah, it was right. Greg Hernandez?
Yeah.
Greg. Okay,
Yep.
okay. Go ahead.
And I ended up I ended up, I think that was probably the scaredest I ever was as a police officer. I got out and I was trying to take up a tactical position, but I saw a movement at the top of the stairs. It's an apartment complex. You got stairs up, landing, a couple of apartments. As you're going up the stairs, his apartment door faces those stairs. And I saw movement. And I'm thinking he's either just going in, going out, he's watching me. I don't know what it is, but I've got to get a cover position until I get some backup here. And I found out later that he was in the peephole, had a shotgun, was getting ready to take me. Yeah, if I had done anything wrong tactically, I was probably going to be a dead man that night.
Wow.
And I was scared because as I'm going up the stairs, I see a bloody knife. I see a freaking ripped T-shirt. It's like all these evidence things are like he just got into a big fight with his old lady. Maybe she's dead inside. Who knows? And it's like it just kept getting worse. So I just kind of stopped and said, Lord, if this is the one, protect me. And long story short, it ended up the guy was hiding in the apartment, jumped out a second-story window, and he actually got away that night after taking a couple pot shots at me and Greg. So,
but you know what though? Hey, I'd rather have that than be dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
What parts of the job did you love the most?
I loved those hot calls when you're on a shift with your buds.
Yeah.
And you got those hot calls, and it's either it's a pursuit or a pursuit that ended in a hunt. We setting up a perimeter and things are going good. We're finding our guy, or we got three outstanding and two of them are in custody, that kind of thing.
You know what, brother? I miss chasing cars.
Oh, yeah.
I miss pulling guns on people.
Yeah.
I miss even some of the fights. I just miss wearing the damn uniform,
Amen.
man. And you know what? When I was getting out, man, I was like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm getting ready to be retired for 5 years from Visalia.
Right.
And it went by in a blink of an eye.
Didn't it,
I will tell you this, man. I miss some of the people. I miss the job. I just don't miss all the bullshit that came with it.
Amen.
And what parts of the job slowly wore you down?
Politics.
Oh yeah, dude.
Politics. I was the victim of a guy who wanted my position really bad. So he's literally lying to the lieutenant. So I'm whacking I don't know, he did something about hours or whatever. Lieutenant starts accusing me of padding my...
What was the guy's name that wanted your job?
Ramirez.
Okay. And you know what's so funny, man? I don't miss any of those supervisors. I don't miss, it's like right when I was getting out, you know what I realized? Almost every call in fact, here's the fact. Every call you go on, you can still do it right and still get written up.
Yeah.
You can still be sued. You can still get in trouble. And right about the time I was getting out, I don't know if you felt this, there was just like this black cloud that no matter what you did, it never seemed like it was good enough. Mm-hmm. And then you had these supervisors, if they wanted to write you up, and, I got written up numerous times by PD, but I just look back on those times. I don't miss that shit. I don't miss it.
That's the crap
and,
you don't miss.
And, did you ever question staying in the profession, or was your commitment absolute? Because everybody I know, we were every year we'd be like, I'm gonna go find something else to go to. You know what I mean?
Right. There comes a time. I think it's kind of like the 7-year itch. I think.
Yeah.
Around your 7th year or so, you start thinking, is this really what I want to do the rest of my life?
Big time.
But for me, that's kind of how it felt. And then I was like, I'd shake that off and go, this is, I get paid to do this. This is freaking great.
Yeah.
So.
Did you take a nice pay raise going from Woodlake to Exeter?
I did.
Okay.
I did. At the time, it was a very large pay grade difference. Woodlake was like the lowest in the county, and Exeter at the time was the highest.
I will tell you this. You know what's so funny? The smartest thing I ever did was about every 3 or 4 years, I would go to a different unit. And that kept it fresh. Because I think guys that did nothing but patrol, I don't know how they did that. I think guys that if you stayed in one unit for too long, I think it affected you. So like every 3 or 4 years, I was looking to make a move, bro. And it kept it fresh, and it kept it where, I had multiple years being in, I had probably more than half my career where I was by myself. I worked in schools for 8 years.
Yeah.
Then I was on commercial policing for 4 years. So, dude, there's 12 years right there where I didn't I guess I had a supervisor, but he didn't care what I was doing as long as I was doing my job.
Right.
So I didn't have that dark cloud because patrol and gangs, those you are closely supervised.
Absolutely.
And I think almost too supervised at times.
I agree.
How did identity and self-worth become tied to the uniform? My identity for a lot of years was, hey, there's Jay the cop. And good, and I think it's bad. Because I think, and you know this, I used to say this, and I don't know if you feel like this. Never tie yourself to something so much that it encapsulates your identity, because when you lose it, you lose that.
Yeah.
And I would see cops that would get fired or get injured and get pushed out. I felt bad for them because not only, you lose your job and you lose your identity in the same day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do not handle it well.
Well, it's true. It's very true. In fact, my when I medicaled out, it was kind of a stutter step because I was off on 4850 for a long time for the injury that I had on duty. And
for the folks at home, 4850, that is the actual paperwork that says that you were off work because you were injured.
And I fight for light duty, because you don't want to be completely out of the picture.
Yeah.
And then I kept getting told, there is no light duty. So I had to throw the book at him and say, hey, so-and-so is on light duty for 6 months because he's your son-in-law or what?
Yeah.
And so I got to still do my light duty, and I came off of light duty, and I had about 6 or 7 months. I came right back into my FTO deal and had a brand new trainee. And in fact, my trainee, I think, is now a lieutenant at the SO.
Who's that?
Jay Lowry.
Oh, yeah.
I FTO'd him. And it's funny because I came back in, I started FTOing Lowry, and I had a blood clot break loose from my injury. I had no idea I had a DVT, and that DVT broke up, and I had a bilateral pulmonary embolism on duty.
I was going to say, you're lucky you ain't dead from that,
I should
Carrie.
be. I should be.
Honestly, dude.
I should be. Had it not been for my sergeant saying, you look like shit, go home. And B, home being close enough that by the time I pulled in the driveway and passed out in my patrol car, my wife was said, like, what in the world? And got an ambulance right away. So I was just blessed. It wasn't my time.
Yeah.
And but I'll tell you what hit me like a running into a truck without a car was when I realized I can't go back to work.
Oh yeah.
And you're right. I was one of those who my identity was Carrie the cop.
Yeah. No, I get it, brother. I get it.
I was full on invested in what I did for a living, what I did as a person. I'm helping people on my off time. I'm working with explorers. I'm going to this. I'm going to that. this training, that training. You know, it was my life.
Well, I would tell you this, man. When I always say this about law enforcement, you can love law enforcement, but law enforcement don't love you.
No, it doesn't.
And here's the tough part, man. We all gave so much to this job.
Yeah.
You know, I gave 25 years of my life to law enforcement at an agency that it ain't too easy to do. I saw a lot of people get pushed out, fired, injured, prosecuted, all these other things. And, you know, so for anybody like yourself, and now that, you know, back then I didn't know you like I know you now, man. But
Right.
you know what, brother? God bless you that you got to get out and still have your mental faculties. Because I've seen this job do a number on people, brother, where they were never the same because of this job. That I hate to see.
It's
and
tough.
It's very difficult to see because I think there's some people, and I hate to say this, but there's some truth. I don't think they're ever going to recover.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
that is truly, truly sad.
It is.
What does the public rarely see about the internal cost of policing?
The aftermath. When I had to stop against my own free will, it was just something that it ended.
Yeah, the decision
abruptly.
gets
Yes.
taken out of your hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then all of a sudden, I went from being like good cop, good guy, supervisor level, you know, that kind of thing, and no problems, and to now I'm a dark cloud because I had to hire an attorney to understand all the 4850 stuff. I knew nothing about post or retirement with CalPERS and all that stuff. I didn't know any of that garbage. So I had to get an attorney to explain it all to me and to keep it on the right path. And because I hired an attorney, now I'm a piranha.
Yeah, because now it turns into this contentious thing, you versus the city.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so in cities, they don't like to give those checks.
No.
So guess what? They're going to fight you tooth and nail.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they did.
They did. They
You know?
absolutely did. And I was lucky enough to finally come out. I didn't come out on a winning end, by all means. Nobody does. Because I had the aftermath. I had PTSD. You never... And then it started to really bother me that I knew all the signs that I was going to have trouble
Oh, yeah.
mentally at the end of it. And I just saw all the warnings, the anger, the not giving a shit, looking at everybody like they're a dirtbag.
And you know what? For the folks at home, cops, we are the worst at that.
Oh,
we
yeah.
really are.
Yeah.
You know what? You know, I'm living my best life right now, man. But my wife recently, she told me, she goes, Jay, you were so judgmental. Because it is. We do. You know, it's like, well, we'll be driving somewhere and I'm like, okay, there's a crankster, there's a gangster. We're gonna go this way. And she's like, you know, Jay, you know, why do you say this? And I'm like, it's imprinted on me forever, and it's going to be that way.
Yeah.
I will tell you something. You know what I got to see, and I recently wrote this in my book. I said this. It's the front row seat to the greatest show on earth.
Amen.
Okay? But there is a price to be paid to do it.
It's not free.
And I got, man, you know how many cops through the years that I've sat down with, and they have become alcoholics, addicted to painkillers, going through a divorce, been arrested, or just emotionally wrecked or angry at the world. And I think my lucky stars that didn't happen to me, Carrie.
Amen.
I really am, because I see some of these guys, and there's a couple guys that come to mind right now, man, and I feel so bad for them, because when I see them, I feel sorry for them, because I know if not for this job, I don't think they would be experiencing all the bullshit that they're going through.
Right.
That is hard. And then, you know this, here's the problem. They don't want to hear it either.
No.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I get a lot of respect from people around town, but I've had to sit down with some people and go, hey, bro, you got to let it go. You just got to let it go. Because guess what? The world keeps spinning.
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing. You know this, you leave on a Monday or leave on a Friday, we replace you on a Monday. By next Friday, you are an afterthought.
Yeah.
It's over. Looking back, what would you tell your younger self about entering law enforcement?
I would tell my younger self this, not to think about the end.
Yeah.
Think about what's going to happen at the end and take care of yourself mentally.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in law enforcement. I pray that it's better these days than it was. But I mean, nobody's going to, I've seen suicides, that Tulare officer that just committed suicide on duty.
Yeah.
I'm like, these guys, they know it's coming. You feel those effects. You feel that PTSD. You know you're not sleeping. You know you're having nightmares. You know that, but who are you going to go talk to about it? The minute you go to your supervisor, now you're 5150.
Yeah, you know what? You said it, brother. I never went to a supervisor and been like, hey, I need to go talk to somebody. In fact, the only time I got was when I got to my OIS, and that was a 1 session, 1 hour deal. And you know this, Carrie, that's the same as not even doing anything.
Amen.
And but I will tell you something. That officer in Tulare, when that happened, that rocked the law enforcement community.
Yeah.
Number one, he was very well liked. Number two, I will tell you this, man, bro, and this is no shit. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. Oh, I really am. You know, and when I say that, man, I've had some people kind of go, really, Jay? And I'm like, hey, bro, there are some people out here dealing with some serious PTSD. Just the fact of not only this stuff that we do, but man, Carrie, we've seen stuff that most people don't want to see.
Amen.
And then when you do try to explain to people, I've had some people go, damn, Jay, that's pretty graphic. And I'm like, and I'm watering that shit down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
you know, so take us to the day of the on-duty injury. What do you remember clearly about that day?
That it wasn't as bad as it felt.
Yeah. And how did you get hurt? I don't think I've ever asked you.
I had a hot call. I was actually in City Hall and had a hot call and came running out, and the guy bailed. I was chasing him down an alley. The other guys were arriving, setting up a perimeter. He goes over a fence. I go over a fence. I go down into a hole, and I kept going, but my ankle stayed in the hole. So I tore my ankle to pieces.
Like all the ligaments and all that?
Yeah, all the tendons, ligaments, everything. It had to be, I've got screws and a plate and a rod and all that crap in there. And what took so long, because I developed blood clots, was because it took so long to process. The 4850 process.
Also, too, I'm sure that just the initial pain, I bet you that got your attention.
Oh, yeah, boy. I'm like, why did I chase that guy?
Do you know how many times that I've been on a call where a cop has been seriously injured?
Mm-hmm.
And the cop is like, I'm fine.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And I've had to be like, no, you're not. And like a supervisor would get there, and I would literally have to go over to the supervisor and like whisper in his ear, he's hurt bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And because nobody wants to say that they've been injured.
Right.
Carrie, I broke my hand twice. Once fighting a 300-pound prostitute, and the other time fighting in an apartment complex. But I tell this stories, and when I say that, it's like, you know, we would punch and, you know, because you know this, there's no rules in a fight. And when you're fighting for your life, you're going to do what you got to do. But man, dude, I broke my hand, dude. And you know what my supervisor said? Yeah, drive her out to Bob Wiley and book her, Jay, and then we'll figure out what's going on with you. I had a problem with that. But you know what? I was a good soldier. I did what I was told.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? We shouldn't have to be good soldiers, bro, because in the final analysis, let's take care of our people. And I just think that that doesn't happen, and, things do, they fall through the cracks, Well, I am a master storyteller. I got a story for you.
Okay.
So me and an officer get sent to this apartment complex for a large black lady that is whacked out on something. And at the time, we didn't know what it was. At first, I thought it was booze, but I think later on it was, either PCP or something, right?
Right.
But we get there, and this lady weighs all of 300 pounds. And she is screaming so loud in this courtyard, and is just echoing off the buildings, right?
Oh man.
And so I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm like, hey, hun, calm down. Let's talk. And before I know it, dude, she turns around and starts running up the stairs. Now, initially, I started laughing because it's not often you see a 300-pound person running up some stairs. And I remember each butt cheek was about this big. And so I started laughing, and I didn't even chase her. My partner got a little overzealous. He chases her.
Oh, no.
And they're going up these stairs, and they get to the door. She goes into the door. As he's trying to go in, she slams that door, and it hits him right here.
Oh, man.
Hard, bro. I mean hard. Like you can almost hear the crack.
Yeah.
Crack. And he goes back. My partner was a large man. I mean, a big boy.
Right.
And he starts kicking this front door. And he's kicking that door so hard that it's actually, I could see the whole apartment building kind of doing this.
Oh, my.
I mean, he's rocking this building.
Yeah.
He's got legs, huge legs. All of a sudden, boom, 1 foot in, goes through the door. Now he's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Oh, my.
The door is dead bolted. So I'm telling him, get your leg out of there because I don't want her to stab you with your leg in there. And he's like, I can't get my leg out because now the shards of the door are kind of going into his leg.
Yeah.
She starts throwing full beer cans at his leg while it's inside. Man. And finally I said, get your leg out of there now. And he just muscled it and just ripped his leg out. And now he's got, like, you could literally see the, like, shards of wood in his leg,
man.
right? But now there's a hole like this in the door. So I look through there. She throws a beer can. So I finally put my arm in the door, unlock the deadbolt, and I go in there, and she picks up this beer can. And before I just went, crack, and I cracked her right in the nose as hard as I could, and down she goes. So we jump on her, get her handcuffed. Well, my partner, his leg's jacked up. And so, he's like, take her downstairs. Dude, she tries to like use her weight and have us tumble down the stairs.
Right.
Literally, I've got her hooked like this and then around the railing of, and we're on a second story.
Yeah.
And I was like, help. And he finally came and we finally got her down. We have to wrestle her all the way down these stairs, finally get her in the car, drive her to the hospital. She wigs out so bad. They finally have her give her a shot of Haldol to chill her out. Finally, we get her in a wheelchair. She's asleep now. We take her out, put her in the car, drive her to Bob Wiley, and it took 3 deputies and me to get her out of the back of that car. And I tell people this, you don't think it, but you know what? It doesn't matter, man, woman. People can be dangerous at any sex.
Absolutely.
We got lucky that day. I remember thinking how easily she could have stabbed him in the leg. How easily I could have tumbled down those stairs trying to hang on to a 300-pound woman.
Yeah.
Could have wrenched my back forever. Could have done a lot of stuff that didn't happen. We got lucky.
Yeah.
How hard was it to accept that your career had to end before you were ready? I'm sure that was tough.
It was horrible. Yeah, it was horrible. I was really suffering. I was so angry.
Well, plus, I'm sure now that, you're not allowed at the PD.
Right.
I'm sure people aren't coming by to check on you. Maybe one or two guys, but everybody else is like, you know this. Guys used to say, nobody checks on me. And I used to tell people, remember this, bro. World keeps spinning.
Yeah.
And especially now that you've gotten this contentious thing with the city, there's a lot of guys that are like, oh, Carrie's radioactive right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't want to get sucked into it. But here's the sad part. Now you're at home and people you thought were like family are not treating you like family.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was hard.
That was tough because the whole time you're being told we're a family here. We're you got problems, you come in here, you can always come to this PD. Even when you're injured, you can come down here anytime. Well, first thing they said, hey, could we get your key?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what do you? I haven't even.
Don't call us.
Yeah.
We'll call you.
Yeah.
Did they seize all your equipment and all that?
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, turn in your equipment, give us your key. You're not gone yet. We're still going to pay you and all this stuff. It just gets weird. It gets weird.
It does.
And I'll tell you, the officer that made it not so weird for me was Daniel Green.
Yeah.
And he was my buddy. I when I first got hired by Exeter, he was this guy was a go-getter. And we used to actually, when I was on duty in Woodlake, we'd laugh at him because he was 8'16", I think he was at Exeter. We go, oh God, watch this. He's going to get in a pursuit. He was always into the shit. And when I came to work at Exeter PD, Cliff Bush told me, he says, hey, can you take this youngster I've got under your wing, and I'm going to put him on graves with you and just kind of calm him down a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like getting written up one right after the other, and it was hilarious because I got to tell this quick story. We lost a prisoner. We'd been chasing this guy all night, and we finally catch him. He had stolen vehicle. He had guns. It was a big catch. And we drag him into the PD and we put him in the cell and we're patting each other on the back. And I'm like, come on, let's go have a smoke, Dad. This is back when I smoked. And let's go outside, have a smoke. So we're in the Sallyport having a cigarette. And man, they're going to be so happy we got this guy. This is great. And we look up and he's standing there in front of us. I was like, I look at Daniel. Daniel looks at me. He just never even touched the wall. He's over a 10-foot wall. Gone. And we were like, holy shit, how did that just freaking happen? So we had an escape. VPD came. Everybody came looking for this guy because he's dangerous. He's armed and dangerous. He's freaking going to be a problem. So fast forward, we're standing in the parking lot, Daniel and I, getting ripped by the LT, who was Kevin Wright at the time.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Personality.
Mr. Personality, that's him. And he's ripping us a new one. And he says, you guys are just accept the fact that there's going to be, you're going to, what is it? The internal investigation.
Oh, yeah. You guys are going to get written
You're
out.
going to get IR on this thing. And I looked at Daniel. I said, "Man, I've never had one. I've never been a part of one." I was like, "What do I do?" He puts his arm around me. He goes, "Don't worry, Dad. I've had plenty of them. I'll walk you through it."
Yeah. You know what? And I've often said this. They law enforcement expects perfection.
Yeah.
There is no perfection.
No.
And I think that when guys make mistakes, back in the old days, you get your ass chewed, but nobody was writing a report.
Right.
Later on in life, the ass chewing's quit. Now it's nothing but now you're getting, everything's documented and it's horrible. What emotions surfaced when medical retirement became unavoidable?
Heartbreak.
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreak.
Yeah.
depression.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and then the anger.
Oh, yeah.
I was doing, in fact, right here in this complex, I was doing military logistics. We were just moving stuff all over for the military. It's like a truck broker type thing. We were setting up transportation for military stuff. And I was sitting there thinking, this is not what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because I have to. I got to make $1.
Yeah.
I got to support my family, but I don't want to be here. I hate this. This sucks. You people suck. You know? You over there, you're a dirtbag. I know because I hooked your ass.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that type of thing. And he was there was a gangbanger in there, kept poking me. And it got to the point where I got into his face as you say one more word to me, and I don't give a shit about office etiquette or any of that bullshit. You're going to wear an ass whipping. And I'm going to hand it to you. And so he walks past, a couple days go by, and I'm just fuming at this guy. And he walks past my desk. He says, "Hey, Elbisi, I know where you live."
Oh, wrong thing to say.
And he was a gangbanger. And I'd already told the boss, I said, you know, this guy that you hold so dear and near is a little gangster out of Lindsay, right? Because when I was on the task force, I knew this guy. We used to chase him all the time. And he says, "I know where you live." And I held it in. And he goes, "Oh, and even better, I know where your grandkids live."
Jesus.
Oh, Jay, that's the day I lost my military logistics job.
Yeah, yeah.
I came up over the desk and drug him outside. And if it hadn't have been for a couple of friends that worked with me that drug me off of him, I'd have killed him.
Yeah.
And that scared me.
I would tell you something. You know what? I've had to tell some guys that I worked with, dirtbags are not worth us getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And, you know, for whatever reason, I always had a hard and fast rule. Nothing good happens after 10, right? So 9:45, I'm going to the barn, bro. But a lot of my partners, dude, they'd be out late at night in bars and get into some dust up. And you know this. You can never intelligently explain why you got into a bar fight.
Right.
And Vice PD, they don't have no sense of humor when it comes to this type of shit. And it's a bummer, man, because you know what, dude, you're, you know, clearly professional, dude. But dude, nobody wants their family being threatened by anybody. Right. I mean, that's bull. Yeah. How did you grieve a career that ends against your will? I'm sure, you know, man, I've had to talk to some guys that literally told me this. I had guys, I mean, grown men cry.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I listen the best I can, but I'm sure, did you have those days?
I did. Yeah. Absolutely did, Jay. I was devastated. I was devastated. And you go through so many emotions. I think the only savior that I had, and you know what's sad, is a lot of cops go through it. Even cops that retire voluntarily suddenly realize I'm not in control anymore.
Yeah. I tell you something, man. I got to leave it at 50, but man, dude, I tried to jump back in it with Amtrak and all this other shit.
Yeah.
And you just realize, man, you know what, bro? But you're right, man. It's like, it became so much of my identity that I finally had to come to the grips of, you know, Jake, it's time to go do something else.
Right.
In 2 weeks, I'm going to be 55 years old. And, you know, Father Time has its way with all of us.
Amen, brother. Amen. It's funny. I got upset because agencies don't have anything in place for that.
They do not.
I think there should be mental health programs that, you know, every now and then just call you in and have, a professional, have a talk with them. I thank God for the VA. The VA was there for me when I had my injury and I was going through all the emotional crap and the PTSD. The PTSD was horrible, but the VA, boy, they are tuned in to PTSD.
Big time.
And, they just scooped me up and took care of me. And I got to thinking the whole time that I'm getting treated by the VA and helped, literally just a godsend, that I was, taken care of by the VA. I got to thinking, why is this not in place for veteran officers?
It's not. And, here's the tough part for cities. When you walk out that door the last day, you know what they think? Good riddance, and we're on to the next one.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, man. I mean, I brought this up, and I don't know what you think. I think there should be a full-time psychologist at police departments.
Absolutely.
I mean, little cities couldn't do it, but Vice A could afford to do it. The sheriff's office could. Tulare could afford. Porterville could afford it.
Yeah.
Have somebody to help these people. But you know this, man, the minute that you talk to a psychologist, there's always this negative connotation that, oh, can you not handle this anymore?
Absolutely.
And
immediately the cloud of...
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
And I've had some fellow officers say some dumb shit, and next thing you know, they're having to do a fitness for duty, what I mean, interview, which is not good. What was the hardest part of losing the job? Not financially, but personally.
I don't want to say the power, that loss of the camaraderie, that loss, alienation of the PD. I mean, just driving past the PD, wanting to go in and hang out with the guys, or go see what's up in the patrol room, or whatever. You can't.
Yeah.
I think the first time I walked into the PD and went into the lobby and said, "Oh, hey, I need to see, Sarge." And they were like, "Okay, we'll have a seat."
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because
tough.
this. When you're in, you're in. When you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks. It's a rude awakening.
It is. How did it feel to watch the job continue without you?
Oh, dude, that's it. It's tough. And because I lived in the town that I was policing, I'd see guys going past. I'd be like, out my front yard, and
oh yeah,
they were just like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, guys, it's still me. And it took a long time for me not to feel emotion when I see a unit drive past.
I would tell you something. You know what's so funny, man, is I live in a gated community, and there's a brand new VPD officer. He just cleared FTO. Right. And so when I come out my front door to get in my car, there's a VPD unit now there, and he came over from the sheriff's office, squared away dude. But talking to him, and because we live less than probably not even a quarter block from each other, man. But dude, it's like I talk to him and I just think, Jesus, man, I miss it. I miss some of it, but I'm also very proud of the fact that I got to leave when I wanted, not when I was being kicked out the door. That I think is a hard thing for people, and even for you, you got injured. But think about the guys that get canned. Mm-hmm. Dude, these poor guys, man. And I think that there's people that struggle with it, and it takes years for people to come to grips with it.
Absolutely.
Especially if they think that they were truly, truly shafted.
Yeah.
What happens to a cop's identity when the badge is taken away?
Oh, man. It's like night and day.
Big time.
It's like night and day. You're not Jay the cop anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Jay
Joe
Schmo.
Jay Joe Schmo. That's it. And I think you lose that identity. It's like losing a relative,
Yes.
And it's tough. You actually have a mourning period where you're just depressed.
Yeah.
And sad, and you wonder, what the hell?
I would tell you something. Who struggled with it pretty badly was old Gibby. You know what I mean? And
I watched your interview.
Yeah,
with Gibby,
yeah. And I do, and I love him.
Yeah.
But dude, he went out on a stress leave, man, and it affected him because, now he can't get a CCW. He can't do all these things. And I truly love him, man. And he's been through a lot. And I'm so proud of him because he's turned it around a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But man, bro, I mean, he struggled with it. I mean, we'd go to restaurants and because I'd be in uniform and, people like, hey, Officer McWilliams. And, he'd be, hey, I used to be a cop too. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And did you feel forgotten once you were no longer active?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt alienated by the PD. There's only a few officers in there that would go out of their way to say hello to me.
Yeah.
And now it's been, I've been retired now since 2013.
That's a long run.
That's a long run. And so it took me a long time to get over those emotions. I'm over it now. I'm good right now. But it's even still, I get these twinges when I see like the whole PD has turned over twice since I've been retired. Talking about all new different personnel. There's not a soul there right now at that Exeter PD that was there when I was there.
Also, too, you know what, man? I remember when they were recently, they were in that trailer because they were refurbishing the PD.
Yeah.
So, you're right, man. And I somebody had told me one day about Exeter that Tulare PD keeps stealing their people. So, you know what I mean? And because you think about this. The guys in Exeter, they're doing their job, and God bless them.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you offer a guy $1,000 a month to come to us or go to Tulare, not many people can turn down a $12,000 a year raise.
That's right.
And, God bless people who do it. You know what I mean?
And I think it's a good move. If you're a young cop and you've been successful at a small agency and you've got the wherewithal and you're a good cop, and you're going to make it at a bigger PD. You can do it.
Yeah.
And I think there's some people that they can't get out of that small town because they're not capable of getting a job at a big PD.
You know who I ran into? It's been a while back, but remember a guy named Brett Englehart?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah.
Right. So, dude.
Yeah, I worked with Brett.
Yeah. But, hey, he was a lieutenant. And he just one day just said this, I don't want to do it anymore.
I'm done.
And you know what? I talked to him. It's been a while back, but we were talking and, he's out doing some other stuff and he loves it.
I know.
He's like, I think Brett, if, we always kind of thought that Brett would probably be the chief there one day.
Yeah.
But he just said, hey, man, I don't want to do it anymore. And I love it when guys can go, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to go do something else.
And
God bless him.
Yeah.
God bless his family.
Yeah.
And I like to see it. How did your brothers and sisters in law enforcement respond to you during that time? A lot of it is probably like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kept me at an arm's length. They didn't, they acknowledged my presence if we were run into somebody, but it's like you're not in on the secrets anymore. Not the secrets, but the stuff that we, as cops, we'd sit around talking about this guy down here, or, he got hooked there, blah, blah, blah. Or we're talking business. And you don't get that anymore.
I tell you, dude, I had somebody at the PD literally tell me, you're not one of us anymore.
Yeah.
And, I was like, hey, dude, I didn't get fired. I retired.
Yeah.
And at the time I wanted to punch him in his face because they just, but he was just like this, but you're not one of us. And I look back on it now and he actually did me a favor. You know what I mean? Because, I just assumed we would all be friends forever.
Sure.
But what you realize is that's a fantasy, dude.
It is.
It's not going to happen. And there's certain people, man, they only want to be your friend while you're in it. And when you're not, or you can't do anything to help their careers, screw you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Were there moments where you felt isolated or disconnected?
Oh, yeah. A lot of those moments. when you first leave and it's not on your own accord, you have a lot of those isolations. It's weird because I felt isolated, but there comes a point where you just stop making any attempts to not be isolated.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I ain't going down there. All the guys will be down there. Nope.
Yeah.
Or, hey, why don't you stop in at the PD? I said, no, I ain't got nothing to do with the PD.
I told this story, man. Gibby showed up one time and brought snacks and drinks for the guys at the PD, during the holiday season. And he was doing it just to see people, man. And one of the supervisors flat out called me in and told me, tell him we don't want him down here if he can't push a car. And, they wanted me to tell him that, because, he's family. Yeah, because he's family to me. And when I told him, bro, it hurt my heart just to tell him that.
Sure.
And I remember the look on his face when I had to tell him that. It just, man, it's sad, man. It's truly, truly sad because especially, like you gave 15 years of your life to this work.
Yeah.
And hey, bro, but it's that old adage. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And you know what? How did the injury affect your mental health?
Man, it was hard.
Were you and the wife having problems during that time?
Actually, no. I was just going to say, I thank God for my wife. She supported me through every bit of it. She would always give me the brighter side of the coin. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, it's okay. You did everything. Look at all the things you accomplished while you were there. You got Officer of the Year. You did this. You got a Governor's Award. You got to be detective. You got she would always give me the accolades. You managed. You didn't go out being a bad cop. You weren't running around with a 17-year-old explorer.
And for the folks at home, unfortunately, that's happened more in our line of work than what you think.
Yeah.
Did you struggle with your purpose after retirement?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. It took me a while, and I think what finally brought me around is when I got my PI license and I started doing some PI work. I think it was, I did a few subcontracting things for Rocky Pipkin.
Okay.
And Rocky's a good guy, good detective, good agency. And he sent me out on some surveillance stuff. And I hate surveillance. I can't stand it.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. But he sent me out and I had a lot of time to think. And I thought, you know what? This is kind of cool. I'm still doing,
Yeah.
I got to keep my head on a swivel. There's a little bit of excitement here. I'm in a bad neighborhood,
Yeah.
I'm okay now.
Yeah.
So, and it's pretty crazy that we have to be like that. Like, I go into the homeless camps now to get statements. I'm going into the freaking gang-riddled neighborhoods, and now they're all handing me homicides right and left. So you're not in the best of places to get statements and all that stuff
That's
anymore.
for sure,
So
dude.
You gotta fall back on your training, and that feels good.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? It's like, I got to talk to you right when I got my PI license, and seems like you like it. And you know what? And God bless you, man, for like it. What was the darkest moment during that transition?
When one of my buds, who I thought was my bud, when another officer looked at me and said, "Why'd you jump the fence?"
Oh, yeah.
That's a dark moment.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because, and I hope they have stopped doing this, but I remember in the academy, they drill this into you. These investigators that are working for the defense, they are dirt. They are no good. They don't talk to them. You tell your victims, don't talk to those guys. They'll lie to you. They'll do this. They'll do that. All they're trying to do is get that guy off. And it's not what being a PI is.
I tell you what happened to me, dude, and this was scary. I was doing some surveillance in Fresno, bad neighborhood. Fresno PD rolled up on me. And they're talking to me, and I said, "Hey guys, I just want to let you guys know I'm a private investigator." They go, "Do you have a weapon on?" I said, "Yes, I do." They drew down on me, dude, and pulled me out.
What?
And yeah. And I didn't lose my cool,
Right.
but it's pretty weird looking down the barrel of a gun when you're not used to that.
Right.
And they didn't know the laws, and and that's scary too. I think there needs to be more training about PIs, especially. I have a CCW through my PD. I also have or at the time I had an exposed carry permit where I could carry just like an officer. And I remember the only thing that saved me, a supervisor rolled up, and then they ended up saying, "Well, yeah, he hasn't committed any crime," and they let me go. Think how easily, if they didn't know the laws, I could have been in the back of a cop car and getting hooked.
Sure.
And it's scary. I know Pinto said something in his last episode where somebody said that he went to the dark side. He does a lot of criminal defense. I don't think it's the dark side. I think people are entitled to due process. I do like to see that. I would, if I ever get in that and I need a good investigator, I want an investigator out there trying to do a good job for me.
What I would tell them is, you're not out there to get this guy off, and you're not out there to take a guilty guy and make him look innocent.
Yeah, we're not going to alibi anybody.
You're doing the exact same thing you did as a detective for the police department. You're looking for the truth.
Yeah, the facts.
And if the truth is that this was some sloppy police work and you guys didn't turn this stone over, it had you to seeing this, then you're just getting the truth and reporting the truth.
I will tell you this. You ought to watch Brian's episode. He uncovered something major on a homicide, and it took the case and made it go a whole other direction.
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you truly felt lost?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was more than a moment. There was a whole period of time where I didn't know what I was going to do. I really didn't. I felt lost because, one, I was injured, so it wasn't like I could go work at a ranch somewhere, Two, I was never going to go back to doing what I absolutely loved doing.
How long did that process take from the time you left to get fully retired and all that?
Oh man, that's another thing. It's a difficult process.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight.
No, by golly, it takes forever.
Was it a year or more?
Was over a year.
Yeah.
It took about 2 years to start the fact that we're going to medically retire you. And the chief actually made sure that I got a pretty good deal. I got the medical retirement. I had choices. I could have took my time and done the CalPERS calculation and all that, or I could just take the medical and get a straight half tax free the rest of my days. And that's what I went. And they made that available to me. So, but the city itself, the city manager at the time, who actually became Visalia's city manager, but the city manager at the time, him and I were bumping heads. I'm like, dude, I am not suing you.
Oh, was that what's his name?
Groom.
Yeah, Randy.
Randy Groom.
Yeah. No, I know when Gibby was going through his thing, it took 4 years from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a long time to put people in limbo, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
I've often said this. Let's try to get this done in a year. You know what I mean? I understand there's going to be, either depositions or, medical stuff. Yeah. But Jesus, making people wait a long time I don't think it's beneficial to cities. It's not beneficial to the employees at all.
Absolutely. I saw a sergeant buddy of mine recently that just, he'd been a cop he's worked for big agencies, he worked for small agencies, and he was a sergeant there at Exeter, and he was my buddy. I FTO'd him, and he's just a good guy. I often told the story that I didn't FTO him. We were partners.
Yeah.
And because he was that good when he came to us. And, but he never missed a single hour of work in the 16 years that he had given to that agency. And he ran into a burning house to save a kid, scorched his lungs, got the kid out, saved his life, got a commendation for it, and then got denied an on-duty injury for the scorch because he couldn't breathe. He damaged his lungs for life.
And see, that should never happen.
No.
It's like, hey, man, you know what? We have to do stuff that the average person, when everybody's running out of the burning building, we're running into it. When people are shooting inside of a building, everybody's running out, we're running in. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think people, officers need to be taken care of. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I know cities don't like to pay that money, but Jesus Christ, none of us are Superman.
Right.
And people need to be taken care of.
Absolutely.
How did your faith play into that period?
I think that God lifted me up.
Yeah.
During that time and kept me from going completely down and under into the depression and all that stuff, which I went through all of those feelings, all those emotions when I came out of the service, because I was injured in the service and put out medically, and I didn't want out. And so I kind of reverted back a little bit to that.
Were you drinking during that time?
I wasn't drinking. I was on pain medication.
Yeah.
I didn't abuse it, but I didn't want to give it up either.
Percocet, Vicodin, stuff like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm like, whatever. But I think God kind of lifted me up and showed that I was questioning. I was like, you opened all those doors for me, made it so easy to get into this at such a late time of my life. And now all of a sudden you slam that door. What is it you want from me? Why am I still here? What's going on?
Yeah.
What'd you save me for?
Yeah.
And so my faith played a lot. It got me thinking and questioning. And then I realized that and my wife, bless her heart, she showed me that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And she told me, hey, you're retired. You don't have to work. Don't work.
Yeah.
She said, I think you'd like doing it.
Yeah.
And I said, you're right. I like the courtroom. I think at one time in my life I was an attorney or wanted to be, but
I would tell you something, man. God bless guys like you who love it, because I tell you, I did not like PI work. I don't like criminal defense. I just do not. Did you ever feel guilt for basically getting hurt or just no longer serving? Was there ever a time where you're like, man,
Yeah.
Because, it wasn't your fault. It just seems like you got dealt a bad deck of cards during that time. But did you ever feel, because I know I've talked to some other cops that are like, I feel guilty because I'm no longer out there.
Right.
Did you ever feel that?
I did. Absolutely did. It is a guilt. You hear about something happening, big in town, or I gotta tell you, when I hear sirens, I feel guilty.
Oh yeah,
because I'll be like, man, you hear that, honey? That's a pursuit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm like, it just feels like I should be out there doing it.
You know what? I have felt that. Me and my wife will drive around, we'll go by an apartment complex. There'll be 6 cop cars out there. And I'm like, man, I miss that. But you know what?
You find yourself thrown up though.
Yeah. But you know what? You know what's so funny about Visalia? It's such a revolving door.
Oh,
that, like, dude, I only been gone 5 years. Dude, they do training in this building for Pinto's episode. We rolled up here, and there was a bunch of guys out there. I only recognized 3 out of about 25 cops.
Wow.
It's just such a self-replicating thing that, they're having a hard time just even keeping up with the retirement.
Sure.
What do people underestimate about forced retirement? I think a lot of people look down upon it, but they shouldn't.
And I think that's where they underestimate the effect it's going to have on that officer.
Yeah.
They don't look at it like, hey, this wasn't his choice.
Yeah.
And they should take that into account when they're dealing with an officer who's given his all. If you've given 150% on every shift, which you should, I mean, you're not only for your sake, but your partners, you're out there. It's not about making the PD look good. It's not about making cops look good. It's about who's on that shift with you and that everybody's going to go home at the end of this shift.
I tell you, I had a supervisor one time, he was chewing me out for, I can't even remember, but I was like, man, I'm giving you 110%. And he goes, maybe we don't want 110 from you. Maybe we only want 70. And I remember, man, it was such a gut punch, man, because, I wasn't just a good cop. I was an exceptional cop. And it's sad because you just see that the morale starts to dip. And, I can tell you this, for what you went through, brother, and for the folks at home, Carrie is 69 years old, and you look like you age backwards, bro. You really do. You look great, dude.
Well, I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Who were the people that helped you pull you through all that? Wife mostly?
My wife mostly. My wife, 150% my wife. She really supported me through it all. She helped keep my faith. My wife and God, kept me strong. And my grandkids, oh my Lord. Having grandkids, I'm going to tell you what, it is just like night and day. I love my grandkids.
Do they live in Exeter as well?
Yeah, no,
okay.
They live here in
Visalia. Okay.
Yeah. My son and his wife live over there off of Liberty, I think it is. Yeah, Liberty. And, they've got a little house, but my daughter-in-law has just got her doctorate.
Oh, wow.
And her master's in pharmaceutical medicine.
So she's going to be making big bucks.
Yep. So now she's working for, what is the CVS?
Okay.
And she's a floater. And I mean, it's like they finally made it. And what we went through, it was like 6 years of her going through school, raising 4 kids, going to full-time university. My son working full-time for Rite Aid.
Yeah.
He's a pharmaceutical tech.
Okay.
And right now he's just enjoying his time off because Rite Aid went out of business.
I just saw that. Dude,
Yeah.
And I hated that because, dude, I love Rite Aid. That was my pharmacy for all those years.
Yeah.
I used to go to the one on Walnut and Acres.
Yeah.
And, dude, when it closed, I'm going to tell you something, dude. I was bummed out.
Yeah.
Man, I've been going there for 20-something years.
Yeah.
How long did it take before you stopped defining yourself as a cop?
I still define myself as a cop.
Me too.
I don't think you ever stop.
Yeah.
I think we'll always have that part of us that we're here to help.
Yeah.
You know? And we have that ability to empathize with somebody because we know what you're about to go through, dude.
Yes.
We've been there. We put people in your position. So it's not only the victims that you empathize for, but the dirt bags.
I've and I've often said
bro.
this. I was born to be in service of others, and I think you were too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's just, I think Daniel Roberts said it. There's something, I think we just have a servant's heart. Yes. And which I totally think. I just, I was born to do this, as you were too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did rebuilding your identity look like?
I didn't know. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I went through when I finally realized I got to get a job.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the hardest thing. And working with people in the norm. I was in an office full of people over here that were doing military logistics and
civilians.
Yes, all civilians. And there's this office was about 35, 40 people in it. And I worked for one section over here, and there was me and my buds that they ended up being very good friends. But there's people they don't have a clue.
Oh, big time.
They have not a clue. And there was one gal that filed a legit complaint about me because she knew I was wearing a gun. I didn't wear it exposed, but she says, "You were a cop, huh?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "You probably wear a concealed weapon, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." So, and then there was a lot of people in that office didn't even know that I was a cop, which didn't really bother me, but it was like, you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, big time. I would tell you something, bro. I thought I wanted to be a school teacher.
Yeah.
Dude, they did not like me because of what I did.
Yeah.
And I look back on it now, and I should have had my head examined for even doing that, but I stuck with it, and I got my master's and credential, bro. But that's not my calling, brother.
Right.
And just trying to be around those people, far left liberal, most of them.
Yeah.
That's not how I think. And I just remember going, you know what, Jay, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
And that's it's hard to have to admit, but things happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is my calling. This is where I'm supposed to be.
And you're very good at it.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Did you ever fear you'd lost your purpose permanently?
Oh, sure. Sure. I think anybody who goes out prematurely or against their will, so to speak, they have that feeling.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you've got to find... It takes a long time to figure out what your drive is again, what your purpose is. And I felt that way. I felt like I lost complete direction.
Also, too, Kerry, you're old enough. You've drawn your Social Security as well.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, you probably got more money than you even know what to do with, dude. Where was the turning point when things started to shift? Was that when you started doing PI work that kind of got you out of the
pretty
funk?
much? Yeah. When I that really brought me up. I mean, I got busy. I was doing too many cases because it was just too much to do. It was almost like a job.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, you, Pinto, Julian, you guys are busy PIs. And God bless you, man. I mean, you know what? I want you to be as busy as you want, bro. But the problem with that work is one case drops, you got 5 coming at you, man.
Absolutely.
And, there just comes a point in time. And I was glad I tried it because I'll never have to know. Because I know helping people that are going through any type of case, and criminal defense is just not my jam, dude.
Yeah,
Dude, I had some homicide cases where I was like, dude, I do not want this person out. I am not going to use my skills to help these people.
Right.
That was the hard part for me.
Yeah.
How did you reconcile pride in your service with all the pain that you had to go through to as it ended? That must have been hard because
it was.
Every time I've known you, and even now, man, I mean, you're a very prideful dude. So am I.
Absolutely.
And, I know I had to go through a lot. This is going to sound like braggadocious, man, but I was better at it than most, man. And you know what, bro? When I was walking away, I at least had this in me, 25 years, and I could go, all right, Jay, you're turning 50 today, and this is it.
Yeah.
And, man, my retirement check is robust enough that I don't have to work if I don't want to,
Right.
which feels really good.
Absolutely.
Right. And I'm at the point in my life where I don't have to do stuff I don't want to do. And that feels good. You know, I'm at the point too where I just say no. I mean, hey, if people ask me to do stuff and I don't want to do it, no. You know, this is where my skills have brought me. This is where I'm supposed to be. I just wrote my first book. I'm writing my second book. That's where I guess the best word I could say it. That's where I feel God.
Yeah.
That's where I feel.
Amen.
I think I'm providing a service to people like yourself by doing this.
You are.
I think that there's people in Tulare County, their stories need to be told.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to do. What lessons did suffering teach you that the job never could?
That internal fortitude, you know, that you to pick yourself up and keep going. I mean, there were times I'd lay in the hospital and feel really sorry for myself.
Yeah.
There was a part during the when they were doing catheters. It was a painful process. They chased clots up through my legs and so forth, and I had to lay at about a 25% angle with my head down and my legs up in between each treatment. And I'm talking like I was in there in the ICU for, I think it was 19 days. And during that 19 days, about 12 of them were treatment, chasing those clots. And it was like torture. I was like, why do we have waterboarding? We got a cath lab.
No, did they? Are you fully healed? And
I am good. I have to take. I have to give myself shots every morning of. It's like heparin. It's called fondaparinux, and it's a blood thinner.
Okay.
I have to wear this medical to give people a high sign that I'm on blood thinners in case I'm laying out there with a.
What caused all that? Is it hereditary or
no? They think it was hereditary. They found a clotting disorder. My mother died of a blood clot.
Okay, so it might have been hereditary.
So it
then.
could very well be hereditary. And but they weren't able to identify it other than it started with that injury.
Got it.
And it started as a DVT, a big clot down in my leg that I didn't know I had until it broke apart. And then little clots started going everywhere. And my body was riddled with blood clots.
Dude, yeah, you're lucky you ain't dead then. Yeah,
I really am.
How do you now view sacrifice differently than you did while you were serving?
I never felt like I was sacrificing. No, I take that back. I sacrificed a lot of time I should have been spending with my grandkids and my family.
Oh, yeah. Our families take a back seat, bro.
Yeah.
They just do.
They do.
And you know what? Whether we all want to realize it or not, you know, I missed a lot of birthdays, a lot of Christmases, a lot of things. And I look back on it now and I think, my first wife, she was trying to wrap her head around it the best she could. But I can honestly say this. My wife now, I really wish I had been with her this whole time.
Right.
Because I don't have the stress. And, me and my wife, we don't argue. We don't have drama in our home. My home is very calm. And, dude, I love it. Last night we're on the couch. My wife, she gets up. She has to go to work. She works in Fresno. She gets up at 4:45. We're on the couch last night watching movies with our dogs. And my home is just chill, bro.
Right.
I didn't have that in my first marriage. And that was a problem. And I realize now that not everybody can be married to a cop. And,
that's right.
It really puts a strain on relationships.
It truly does.
So what does service look like for you today, brother?
Service? As in...
You're still providing a service.
I am. It looks like I am finally seeing a point of no service.
Yeah.
It's time to serve me and my family and my wife. She gave up so much during all those years of we didn't go places.
Yeah.
Because you're on duty or you were gonna be, or we couldn't. There was so many family functions I missed, and kids' birthdays, like you were saying, and Christmases and holidays.
Yeah.
So I think it's time. My service looks like serving the Lord and serving my wife, and I have always had a dream, because there's always that cowboy in me. Always, since I was a little kid, always wanted to be a cowboy. I lived the cowboy life. I absolutely love ranching. I love horses and cattle. And
Do you own horses now?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't anymore, and that I miss that.
Got it.
We had a ranch outside of Exeter up until, hell, I was a cop even then, because we used to have our association barbecues out at my ranch, and but I think, when did I move? 2004
Okay.
is when we came into town.
Became a city slicker, huh?
Became a city slicker, and can't stand it, bro. Can't stand it. Well, both my wife and I grew up on ranches.
Yeah.
And when I met her, we were working cattle on her uncle's 68,000 acre cattle ranch that he
that's
was
huge.
managing. Yeah. It was enormous, and we loved it.
Where was that at?
That was in a little town called Pinoche. It's in that New Hydra area. It's between 5 and the 101.
Okay.
Is that Pinnacle Mountain Range?
Yes.
It's in the Pinnacles.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. Rolling hills, and there's some big hills. And then there's the old New Hydra silver mines out there, the Quicksilver mines, Mercury mines.
Yeah.
And we were out in the middle of nowhere and loved it.
For you, I mean, do you still stay connected to any of the guys from the old days, any of the old cops?
I still stay connected. No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say connected. I still chat with my buddy, the sergeant he went up north and back up into the mountains where he wanted to be.
What sergeant was that?
Mark Durkee.
Okay. Yeah.
One of my best friends.
I would tell you something. There's about a half a dozen guys from the PD I still keep in contact with, man. But dude, out of all the guys I worked with, there's 5 of them that I still talk to.
Yeah.
Now I got a lot of acquaintances,
Right.
but I got very few friends from the PD.
Yeah.
You know.
Robert's one of those. Gilson.
He should be close to getting retired.
Yeah.
He's
been in there as long as I've been around. So.
I think he's back on a motorcycle the last I saw
heard he
him.
was back in traffic. Yeah. So,
what advice would you give officers currently struggling with injury or even burnout?
take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Don't wait until those decisions are being made for you.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to come to a realization that it's time for you to think of another option.
Correct.
But make it your option.
Yeah.
Don't let the PD dictate or mandate when it's going to end, and don't let the injury take over. You have to accept things the way they are.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to put it,
Yeah.
because I've actually said that to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I know you want it one way, but it ain't that way.
It's just not that way.
Yeah. What would you say to someone being forced out of a career that they truly love?
Well, I would tell them that it's not the end of your life as you know it.
Correct.
It's the beginning of a new life.
Yeah.
So it's so hard, especially for cops, to form that new identity
Big time.
and to shove all that, we're here to help.
Yeah.
And we run into the burning building.
Yeah.
It's hard to put all that away.
It is. And you know what? I recently was talking to a guy that I truly love, and me and him did a lot of crazy stuff together. And I told him one day, I said, listen, bro, you had your time. Now it's over. Now it's somebody else's turn to pick up the mantle and carry it.
Yeah.
Now it's time for you. Go be happy. Whatever that looks like for you, because
Right.
it looks like something different for each of us.
Absolutely.
How did you find peace with a story that didn't end the way that you planned? What finally gave you like, okay, it's over. I'm at peace now. How did that come about?
Looking back on everything during my career, there was things that I didn't even realize that I can now take a lot of pride in. Not being, and I give it a lot to my life experiences when I started, because I started so late.
Yeah.
I had a lot of life experience. had matured, and there's a lot of young guys that come in very immature. It's a slap in their face to see a guy with no head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, they're going to be traumatized the rest of their born days but I think the more mature you are, the more life experience you had, the more reality you have experienced,
I totally agree.
you're going to be able to survive.
Yeah, I became a cop at 27, and I think it was invaluable because I think the 21-year-old Jay
Yeah.
would have had problems.
Sure.
And I think that by the time I came on, I was already a little bit more hip to the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What role does gratitude play in your life right now?
It's a huge role. I didn't know who to thank
Yeah.
at first, and now I thank God
Yeah.
and my wife and my friends like you. For there for a long time, you go around thinking nobody noticed. I was just a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
And then somebody will say, "Hey, man, I remember when you did this, or I remember when you did that," and that makes me feel good.
I will tell you something. You know what? I have a lot of gratitude for this. I have gratitude with the way I was raised because I come from very humble beginnings. It made me a warrior young. I am very grateful with the career I had, and I'm grateful for the life that I live now. And because I'm at peace, bro. And I think I spent a lot of years not at peace.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very grateful for that. How do you define strength today compared to when you very first started the job?
I think I find strength in the end results.
Yeah.
Seeing
that big picture.
Yeah. Looking
Yeah.
at the whole picture, not just the fact that it ended, or not just the fact that you're not doing something you wanted to do the rest of your life. It's looking at the entire sequence and taking on and giving yourself credit.
Yeah.
You got to give yourself credit. You made it. You made it through. You're alive.
Yeah.
There was times when you didn't know if you were going to be alive or make it home from
100%,
here.
bro.
Yeah.
100%. I think for me too, I think back when I started this, I was like, strength for me was being able to kick ass and take names. And
Yeah.
I think strength now is truly helping people. Is using my strength,
Sure.
my intellect, is to help people. And, people call me a lot when they get their butt in a sling. And I say this and I get a little emotional when I say it, but I never pass up a chance to help somebody.
Amen.
Because I think that's what I was born to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I very first got with my wife, she was like, man, why does everybody have to call you, or why do you have to do this, or why do you have to explain it to, explain the situation to somebody? And I set her down one day and I said, this is what I was born to do. People feel comfortable calling me, and I'm going to use my intellect. I'm going to use my experience to help people when I can.
Absolutely.
Because if I was that person, I would have wished that there would have been a me.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a me when I was going through those hard times. What does brotherhood mean to you now, brother?
I run a recovery program for the church, have been for years. And even when I was still an active police officer. And for me, brotherhood right now is seeing people succeed, to get through their hurts, habits, hang-ups, whatever it is, and seeing them well again.
See, I didn't even know this about you, dude,
Yeah.
that you're doing that, man. And you know what? God bless you, dude.
Yeah,
Anything, there's something about guys like us that if we can do something like that, that helps others that are struggling with addiction or whatever is going on in their life, man, dude, that's a great thing, Carrie. It really is, dude.
It feels good to be able to help somebody, especially if you've been there, done that, and you can say, look, I was like that. They'd be like, you? Yeah, no way. And no, I was.
Yeah.
And you can be this way too, but you've got to see the big picture, and you got to work through it. And you got to put your trust and faith in the Lord. And
there was a lot of years as a cop. I put a lot of people in jail for under the influence or possession, and it's a real epidemic, bro.
It's bad,
and it is bad. And I think anything that's going to get people off of this, especially the methamphetamine, do the fentanyl now, dude. It's scary, bro.
Yeah.
It is scary. How has your view of God changed through all of this?
It's just made my belief stronger. It's made my faith stronger. It's kind of like the proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
It's what that I made it through all these trials and tribulations and hurts and hang-ups and all that stuff. And I'm coming into the last chapter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an older guy, and I got to accept the fact that, hey, before I could say, well, when I get done being a cop for 30 years, I'm going to jump into ranching again or this or that.
Yeah.
And now I'm just happy being me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where my faith and my self has become a lot stronger.
Now, how old did your dad live to be?
My dad died young. He died. I've lived past my dad now. I think he was 66 or 67.
Okay.
And he died of a liver disease that was sitting there dormant in his liver from when he was a child.
Oh, gotcha.
Eating horrible food and starvation and famine. It's kind of like a Hep C type thing.
Okay.
It lays dormant. And then I could go really south and look at the conspiracy theory with my dad, because he was the head of research and development for the whole U.S. Defense Department.
Wow.
And he was in the Pentagon, and he was making a bunch of trips to China towards the end. And he stopped at my ranch in Salinas once on his way back from China, had the worst stomach aches. I mean, like horrid. I wanted to take him to the hospital, and he said, no, just leave me alone.
Wow.
And I often thought, with COVID coming out of China,
Yeah.
and all those Fauci and all those guys that were doing that crap, I often thought, hey, my dad got poisoned by whatever it was they were researching.
You know what? I tell you something, man. When I was in the military, I had a buddy of mine. He worked on radar, and he ended up getting brain cancer and died from it. And good dude, man. And I often think, I gotta believe that some of that radar had something to do with it. We're just dealing with stuff that is not made for the human body.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you could sit across from a young cop right now, what would you want them to know?
Stay human.
Yeah.
Stay human. Don't get so callous and so cold that everything is just policy and procedure.
Yeah.
You know, be a human being. Have some empathy for the people you're dealing with. Because whatever contact you have with anybody, it's going to be, for you, it's your job. It's just something that you're going to come in contact like that 100 times a day. But for that person you're coming in contact with, it's their life.
I tell you something, you know what, man? Me and some of my partners, we used to say some of the weirdest shit.
Yeah.
And we used to laugh a lot. But you realize it was a defense mechanism for us. And it kept us grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think too many guys internalize this job too much. And I think it becomes toxic to the soul.
Yeah.
And it toxic to people. And you can't take it so serious all the time.
Right.
And I think that was my weapon, dude, that I could laugh at the worst situations.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't always the most professional, but it sure kept me,
Absolutely.
it kept me grounded, and it kept me as
gallows humor.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
What do you hope listeners, especially other officers, take away from your story?
What do I hope they take away?
Yeah.
I hope they take away that 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 it won't destroy you.
Yeah.
There is life after cop.
There is.
And it's sometimes it doesn't feel like it when you first separate from that career that you had, but there is life after you're done with this career.
I agree. What gives you hope today?
Seeing my grandkids grow.
Yeah. That's got to be cool.
Yeah.
How old are they now, brother?
I've got a 13, 12, 8, and 6, 7. So
God bless your kids,
Yeah.
man, dude. That's a lot to take on, bro.
that is.
What does moving forward mean to you now, brother?
I'm dreaming of another ranch out in somewhere that's maybe not 68,000 acres.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's too much work. But somewhere where my wife and I can just like watch the sunset and hear a few cows mooing. And
So what are you going to pack it in at 70? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, I
Okay.
think 70 is going to be my magic number.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go in a different direction at 70.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And finally, if the badge is gone, but the man remains, who are you today?
I'm still me, but I'm a lot more experienced me,
Yeah.
life experience. And I think before cop and after cop, I still like the fact that I hope that I'm still the same guy,
Yeah.
but boy, we've seen a lot of shit
Yes, we have.
and we survived it.
Yeah.
And I think street survival is real.
It is. And you know what, man? I really worry. I see a lot of these young kids now, man. And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I see them and there's a part of me, Carrie, I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Because you know this, rough days are coming for a lot of these people. And well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
All right.
I just wanted to tell you this. I've always respected you. I like you. I've always liked you. You have this father figure way about you. I wish you nothing but continued happiness and health. I think you deserve it. I think you did a long career. You're a good man. Well, folks, we're going to wrap up, and I'll leave you guys with a quote. You will see humanity at its worst and still be expected to show it at its best. So, Anyways, pick up a copy of my book. It's on Amazon. It's called Welcome to the Show That Never Ends. I'm going to be having some t-shirts coming out pretty quick. I'll get those on Amazon. And then my second book, it's called it's The Emotional Toll of the Show. I just finished it. It'll be done by about June-ish. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Good luck, God bless, and Godspeed. Thank you.